I mean, it's no secret how me and Francis are pretty close. We've been close for a long, long time. We actually had our first official fight in the UFC together on, I think it was Cowboy versus Dos Anjos in Florida.
That's right.
And that's kind of like the first time we met, and it's just something that it's a bond that we have as African kids, to where when you come from similar circumstances, you understand what the journey is to get to a certain position. And so, you know, we've just been close ever since. We kind of, you know, we check on each other, and then when he officially moved to Vegas, we got even closer. So every time I'm here, we always hang out, try to train together. You know, it's not much I can do with him, but we tried to train together. And for him, you know, I think having me in this corner, I think it's one of those things to where I'm where we all want to be.
Listen, this is what it comes down to, and it looks like it's easy for you to receive, because you have your ego. You have to believe in yourself. You have
Definitely.
You have to believe that you're here for a purpose, to enrich the world. No, you have to believe this deep down something. This is why I'm born. This is why you're across from me. This is why you're across from me. Why you think you're here? You think you're here by osmosis? This is just, you're lucky, and this is the break that you had in your life, and you and me are across from me, because that's what you want. That's what you wanted, right?
Oh yeah.
And that's what happened. And it's the same thing with the championship.
Definitely.
It's the same thing. It's like this when the champ, it comes to you. Your destiny is in your mouth and in your mind.
Definitely, man.
And the person who, once you receive that level of confidence, you know what I mean, and it's practiced properly, it will surpass a genius. There's nothing more supreme than confidence. Confidence breeds success, and success breeds confidence. Applied properly, you're inconquerable. That's what they want you to say. They don't want you to talk about yourself. They want you to believe that you're a dumb nigga from Africa and you're a monkey. They want you to believe that. They don't want you to believe that they don't want you to believe that you're divinely guided.
And Francis Ngannou has the world record for the most powerful punch. His punch is the equivalent to 96 horsepower, which is equal to getting hit by a Ford Escort going as fast as it can. And it's more powerful than a 12-pound sledgehammer swung full force from overhead. Holy shit.
Ngannou is like a character in a movie. If you look at the adversity that guy went through, he was on my podcast and he told a story about how he escaped the part of Africa he's from and made it all the way to Morocco and then across to Europe, and that he had to do it over 14 months. They did it basically on foot and hitching rides, and 7 times he got arrested and sent back, and they put him in the desert. 7 times. And 7 times he made it back to Morocco and tried to get across again. And one day he got through.
That's why he's different. That's why he's different. His
mindset. He said, I never heard about you, but I heard about you. And I said, I have to meet this man. I said, what? You never saw me? He said, no, but I heard about you.
Yeah,
so I had to lift Mike Tyson. So he's looking at me and he's feeling my arm. He's like, are you really Mike Tyson?
Yeah, man. That's amazing.
Look at himself, he's feeling my arm. I said, holy shit.
He had one of the most compelling stories I ever had on my podcast of this 14-month journey where he knew he had to make it to Europe. He had to figure out how to make it to Europe to start a fighting career. It's crazy. No, like very little form of training at all until he gets to France. And then he's homeless. He's sleeping in a parking structure. And he gets taken in by this guy who was eventually his trainer. And then they convince him to do MMA. He wants to box. And they convince him to start training and learning MMA. And then next thing you know, a few years later, he's the UFC heavyweight champion.
But Francis Ngannou, right? There's a guy 10 years ago was working in the sand mines in Cameroon. 10 years ago, he was working in the sand mines of Cameroon. Then he escapes there, he gets to France, he's sleeping in his car, in a car park, you know. And now he's the champion of the world. I mean, talk about that for inspiration. And let's just talk about the potential that Francis Ngannou has, right? Because we haven't seen a guy like this since Mike Tyson, starching people with one fucking shot. And when you do that, the world watches. Look at Mike Tyson, look at the money he earned. And that's what the UFC has now on their hands.
I thought to myself, watching Francis and Ciryl, I thought to myself, I think Jones beats both of them. Like, I really did, after watching them in that fight, think to myself, and then talking to Henry Cejudo as he was leaving and other people, I was like, man, I think Jones might beat them both. So I was ready to admit I was wrong. I was ready to come on here and say, I was wrong, Jones beats them both. But then, when you get out of the situation, you get out of the arena, you get home, you take some time. I drove all the way back from Arizona last couple days because my daughter had gymnastics, so I had a lot of time to sit and think about everything. Then I listened to Francis, talk to Ariel, and all his contract stuff. And it really dawned on me because even in the build-up, we talked about this. Francis has so much going on, and then right before the fight, I'm in the locker room and we get information that he's dealing with a very severe knee injury. And I was thinking, man, he may not get through this. But then he gets through it in the most unexpected way that you could ever imagine, with him taking Ciryl Gane down in the ways that he did.